Yes, I am fine. Is
Would you like to wait for a couple more minutes?
Just give 2 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, the participants are, yeah, the rest of them are waiting. So yeah, shall we start at like exactly at 4:37? Just two
Oh,
more minutes, yeah?
oh, Gibson is
Okay.
already here, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to him. If in case if he's not here, he said he
Oh,
will join in
oh,
before 5, like 10-15 minutes later.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, right. Apologies for the ones who had joined on time and still waiting. Very sorry. We're just waiting for some more participants to join. So please bear with us for a couple more minutes. Mr. Sridhar, sir, are you the Mohan Foundation Sridhar, sir? Somebody else.
Hello, hello. You can see me, then
Hi,
you will
sir.
understand who is
Hi, sir.
this.
Hi, sir. Ah, yes,
I am
yes,
same
yes,
the
yes.
same old man,
Oh,
same
sir,
old
you.
Sorry.
man.
So all of a sudden you became
I see
old, sir.
a video.
No, I am old
Yeah.
only. I'm
Sorry, sir, your
same
voice
old
is
man.
breaking.
Oh, is it? Okay. All well, all well. Oh, Gibson also joined. Very nice. My
Sorry,
friend,
sir, my
Gibson.
internet connection is little unstable. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
No,
Didn't expect you to.
yeah, I just saw Gibson also joined. All great giants are
Oh,
joining. Great.
okay. Should we get started then?
Yes, Sujata, please go on.
Right. Participants, could you please keep yourself muted so that we could have uninterrupted masterclass? Yogita, could you please take care of the, just one second. Yogita, are you here? Could you please take care of this?
Yes, ma'am, done.
Right. Okay.
Netaji,
Very, very,
Netaji, good afternoon. Netaji, good afternoon. My friend, very close friend, Netaji.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, Sujata.
very good evening to all of you and warm welcome to this masterclass on exploring a legal framework for living donor transplants, case-based discussions. This masterclass has been jointly conducted by MOHAN Foundation and NATCO. Some of you must be the members of NATCO, Network and Alliance of Transplant Coordinators, who know about the NATCO. However, I could see some of you are first time joining the masterclass. So for your interest, NATCO is a registered not-for-profit charitable trust with a vision to improve the professional career of the transplant coordinators and promote ethical organ donation and transplant program in India. So we have been, NATCO and Mohan Foundation jointly has been conducting this masterclass in series for many more months, in fact, years. And this is one such masterclass where we would like to have this topic on living donor transplants with real case-based discussions. And for this session, we are going to have Mr. Netaji as moderator. It's my pleasure to introduce him to all of you. Mr. Netaji Janakiraman, he's been actively involved in organ donation and transplant program, if I'm not wrong, for about nearly 2 decades. And over the years, he has worked with multiple corporate hospitals in Tamil Nadu, bringing him with a wealth of experience both in living donor transplant program as well as disease donations. And he's currently serving as Deputy General Manager, Transplant Program and Promotions at GEM Hospital, Chennai. Welcome you to this masterclass, sir. And I would like you to take the floor under your control. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujata. Okay, yeah. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That was a very good platform set for the rest of the meeting. Now, I know eminent speakers are waiting to deliver their experience among us. But before we start, I thought we will just have one small exercise to understand the entire program so that we connect it much better when we have the speakers to deliver their talk and share their experience. We might have much better connections. So to take it forward, what we thought is we will have general poll about the topic that we have chosen this for this evening. We have spoken much about the cadaver donor transplant, and there are more discussions only in cadaver donor transplant. And on a grace occasions, we are just leaving the living donor transplant, and especially as Sujata said, the ethical and the legal components, which are goes hand in hand. At times, we um, uh, give a little more less time towards that, and we compromises on few issues which puts us in a very difficult situations. We thought we'll take it up this discussions. In fact, we had some time back at on a face-to-face discussions also, and then we thought we'll take it across the country so that we could reach as much as possible. So to take this forward, let us have a set of questions for you to answer, and then we will take this session a little more forward. Can we have the polls presented, Sujata?
Yes, Yogita, could you please start running the poll? The poll basically has 8 questions. All of them are true or false. We request all of you to actively participate just to understand your understandings, and accordingly we can set the floor. So please do participate and give your answers for these set of questions. We would like to give you about 5 minutes, just in case if you need more time. Yes, we would give, but otherwise we would like to close this poll in another 5 minutes time. Yeah. Yogita, once it is done, I just want you to not to close the poll, just keep it open, and the sharing results can be moderated later. Just wait
Noted,
before you
ma'am.
share the results. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
We hope all of you are able to see your questions. Hopefully there is no problem in accessing the quiz poll. I don't see even single answer has been submitted yet. So please take the quiz and submit your answers as quickly as possible.
Sujata, I have just submitted. Please check. Preeti Jain from Nagpur.
Hi, Preeti. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. I have just submitted. Please check.
Probably, Yogita, I guess I'm not an admin, so I couldn't see the submissions, right?
Yes, ma'am. People are
No,
submitting.
even I
Yeah.
also submitted.
Okay,
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
okay,
Yes,
right.
yes. %42% participated.
Okay, so let's wait for 2 more minutes and then we'll take it up for discussion.
Hello. Hello, Sujana.
Hi, sorry, who's this?
So myself, Raju from Zydus Hospital.
From Zydus Hospital, who's this?
Ahmedabad.
Sorry?
Hello. Hello. Ahmedabad,
Yeah, sorry, I
Gujarat.
couldn't.
Yes,
Yeah,
I have some.
what's your name? Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Could you
now
hear
I
me?
could hear you. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I have already submitted the file.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay, good, sir.
Yogita, how many submissions have come so far?
68%, 70%
60.
almost.
70. Okay. Just last 1 minute. If anybody is still attempting to submit your answer, just last 1 minute. Naita, sir, should we show the result and then go in for a
No,
discussion?
No, I
So
think
we'll wait for the.
yeah, we can hold it.
Okay, right.
The worst thing was you all were disturbing the participants who were trying to, concentrate and trying to answer.
What is it? Sorry, who is this? Could you please repeat your concern?
Yes, ma'am. It is me. It
Okay.
was like when it was like I'm sorry. It may be rude. I'm sorry. So sorry for that.
No, that's
It's
fine.
like
Like, yeah.
Go on.
yeah. When I may be doing the same. Let's wait for them. Then I'll talk to again.
What?
I didn't get his concern.
Just wants everyone to be quiet when people are trying to think of the answers. That's all.
Oh. Because it's more than 5 minutes, we should close the quiz. Samran, Yogita, please keep the answers. We will take it for discussion later.
I think
Okay, ma'am.
80% have
We reached
already.
about 80%, right? Yeah, you're showing the
81.
results. Yeah, you're showing the results. Just keep it for
Okay.
discussion
Okay.
later. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, that was a small exercise to understand the different authorities which approves living donor transplants. Now, the reason why we wanted to take it up for the discussion is there is some kind of a overlap on each authorities. So we will have the discussion first to clarify that and then take the rest of the discussions. And to that, I would request Sujata to share her thoughts, and if she has a presentations, it will be really great. And clarify on these issues, and before we take the speakers to come in.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
some of you who are not aware about Sujata. Sujata has been in the organ donation and transplant program for
let's
more
get
than 15
started.
years. Now she is a associate director, MOHAN Foundation for courses, and each one who goes through the transplant course will definitely wouldn't have missed Sujata's interaction. So, Sujata, it's a platform for you.
Thank you, sir. It's really not a PowerPoint, I mean, presentation-wise, but I just want to give an overview because we are talking about living donor transplant program. As all of us know, every single living donor transplant program, how big your center may be, it has to be approved by somebody or the other. I'm sure most of you are working as transplant coordinators. So this is definitely not going to be something new for you. However, just for the want of the juniors or the people who are attending such a masterclass for the first time, we just start like 5 minutes brief intro to the approval bodies. Then we will move on to the case discussions. Basically, this is about there's often a lot of confusion about who gives approval for what transplant. As I said again, every single living donor transplant application, it has to be approved by a formal body when you are a licensed transplant center. So there are two different bodies, as you could see, authorization committee and competent authority. So let's just first talk about competent authority. So who is competent authority? For example, if your hospital is a registered transplant center, then head of the hospital or institution, wherever you belong to, that person is the competent authority. Or if the head doesn't want to do this job just by himself, then he could constitute a committee of like probably 3 people or 5 people. There is no definition, like a defined number, like how many members should be there. So it is as per his decision. So basically, head of the institute, which is a transplant center, or a committee formed by the head of the institute, that will serve as the competent authority. Once you are given the license as a transplant center, you do not require any further procedure or approval to form a competent authority, because by default, when you have a transplant license, you are given the permission to form your competent authority. So you don't need to again go back to anyone and request them, can I form a competent authority for my hospital? No such procedure is required as per the law. That is number one. Number two, is there any limitations when forming the competent authority? The law gives only one clarity, that anyone involved in transplant related activities, that person is not supposed to be part of the competent authority. For example, if I'm a transplant nephrologist or I'm a transplant hepatologist, then obviously I should not be part of the competent authority. So that is the clear definition that the law is giving us. So as I said, the head of the institute, which is performing transplant activities, he is the automatic competent authority, or a committee formed by him will become the competent authority. Only limitation is nobody involved in transplant activities should be part of competent authority. And there is no special permission required. So what sort of living approvals are given by this particular committee of competent authority? Any Indian near relative as defined by the law. The law has defined near relatives as parents, siblings, children, grandparents, grandchildren, and the spouse. So all these near relative categories can be approved by competent authority. For example, if brother and sister are going in for a donation and transplant, then the approval comes from competent authority. If the spouse, the husband, is donating his kidney to the wife, then that application can be again approved by competent authority. So the competent authority is entitled to approve only Indian nationals, near relatives, and we all know who are coming under the near relatives category. The next one is authorization committee. So authorization committee, unlike competent authority, authorization committee is formed by the state government or union territories. When it is union territory, then they form their own authorization committee. Coming to authorization committee, the law again talks about 3 levels. They are state, every state which is having organ donation and transplant program, they have a state level authorization committee. And for example, Tamil Nadu is like one of the leading states which is doing like more than like 5,000 transplants, living donor transplants for every year, In that matter, in that case, like one single state level authorization committee, practically it is not possible for them to go through every single application that are coming to us, one committee serving to the entire population. Again, coming from the patient's perspective, traveling from down to like too much of travel or so that involves additional burden to the families as well as to the patients in terms of time, money, various other factors. So in that case, the law defines that when there is a need, then we can form the district or regional level authorization committees. Again, that committees are formed by the state authorization committee. So the state forms the state authorization committee. If it is not adequate, we need more in numbers, then the district committees are again formed by the state. Okay. And last one is hospital-based authorization committee. When it comes to hospital-based authorization committee, the only criteria given by the law is the hospital should have performed more than 25 transplant in a year. So for example, if you consider MOHAN Foundation as a transplant center in 2024, for example, the last year we have conducted more than 25 transplants, close to 30 transplants, then we are eligible to form a hospital-based authorization committee. Having said that, it doesn't work that way, because it's not like just because I have applied, we have done more than 25 transplants, we can automatically form hospital-based authorization committee. No. So when there is a need and I am eligible as an organization, we are supposed to go to the state and request, now we come under the eligible criteria, can we form a hospital-based authorization committee? Again, it is up to the state and state committee to decide whether they would like to form it, because the members are again going to be decided by the state government and the state authorization committee. So unlike competent authority, here you can't form it on your own. You need to have the state's permission. Second, the members are dictated by the state and the state authorization committee. So this is the definition for the state level authorization committee. Often there is a confusion or misunderstanding between the competent authority and the hospital-based authorization committee. If you look at it practically, both of them are within the hospital, both competent authority and the hospital-based authorization committee, but their roles are completely different. As I said, competent authority handles only the Indian National Living Donor Transplants. The authorization committee deals with the rest. So we will see what are those transplant applications. So it is clearly two different committees. And the members of the committees are completely, because like competent authority, they could be very much within the hospital, all the members. But whereas when it comes to authorization committee, not all the members, hospital-based authorization committee, not all the members are from the hospital itself. There are going to be some government representatives who are going to be described or dictated by the state or state authorization committee. So that's the difference between the two committees. So what are the applications that are dealt by the authorization committee? Indian nationals other than near relatives, apart from near relatives that has been discussed earlier, any other application, for example, I'm donating my kidney to my cousin, literally it is an other than near relative category, because my cousin is not a near relative as per the law. So if I'm donating to my cousin, or if I'm donating to my friend, my colleague, employer, employee, whoever it is, all those transplants are considered, will be considered by the authorization committee. Swap donation and transplants. Foreign nationals, the moment they come from, for example, two people are coming from Sri Lanka, we don't need to look at it whether they are relatives or not relatives, other than near relatives. No, any foreign national, the moment they become, they come to us, such application goes to authorization committee. We don't need to think, oh, this is a mother and son, so we can deal at the competent authority level because it is a near relative. No, it doesn't happen that way, because they are foreign nationals. So any foreign national applications will be automatically dealt by the authorization committee. And apart from that, one last category is Indian national. For example, I'm an Indian national, but my sister probably 24 years back, she gone to US and got settled, and she is now US citizen. So now technically we are relatives, but we belong to two different nationality. So Indian donor donating to the foreign national only in the case of near relative. I cannot donate my kidney to my friend who's in the US. That is not acceptable. I'm a US citizen. So other than near relatives, not accepted. Only Indian donor and the foreign recipient, only if they are near relative, then such applications are entertained by the law. One more thing is, like earlier, before the amended Act 2011 and the rules 2014 came in, the authorization committee had one more job, providing no objection certificate. For example, if the donor or the recipient, they are moving from one state to the other state for the transplant. For example, I live in Tamil Nadu. My friend is in Maharashtra. So she needs a transplant. Okay, I'm going there to any particular hospital. Then earlier, I was supposed to take no objection certificate from my state, and this no objection certificate was used to be provided by the authorization committee, state authorization committee earlier. But now there is no such requirement. After the amendments have been implemented, the law has been very clearly stating that you don't need any no objection certificate any longer. That has been replaced by Form 20, which is must for any unrelated or other than near related transplants when the transplant is performed in a different state where apart from the donor or the recipient where they belong to, where when they move to a different state, then Form 20 is a must document. And that is provided by Tashildar or anybody in that equal cadre. So now the authorization committee has no such role anymore. So when it comes to authorization committee, again, between these four distinct jobs that they are supposed to do, is there anything that this particular, for example, Indian national other than relative can go to hospital-based authorization committee, whereas foreign nationals should go to only state-based state authorization committee? No, there is no such distinction as per the law. As per the law, all three committees are at the same level. There is no difference. If you have a hospital-based authorization committee, deal there. If you do not have, go to the regional or district. If you don't have that too, then you go to the state. So it is not like, okay, only Indian nationals should be dealt by hospital-based. The foreign nationals should go to state. The swap should go to, no such distinction. Any category under this four will be dealt by the authorization committee, and it could be any authorization committee as dictated by the law. So this is an overview. Just we want to touch upon the different committees so that it would help us to discuss the answers that we had it in the poll. So I'm stopping here, sir. And if you would like to discuss the answer, yes.
Well, Sujata, many thanks. And in fact, it was really a fantastic eye-opening for most of us here. Now, as I said in my introductory talk, there is always an overlap between the hospital-based authorization committee and the competent authority. And even last week also, there was a discussion in a different hospital where the doctors themselves, are confused that aren't we, supposed to do 25 transplants to have the in-house or the competent authority. So thanks for that. I hope many of us would have got the clarity as of now. And let me make one thing for those who are from Tamil Nadu, we don't have any access to the hospital-based authorization committee as on day. Okay, as Sujata said.
Netaji does not switch on his video, then he won't come on the speaker board, Sujata.
Okay, sir, could you
Oh,
please switch
sorry.
on?
Yeah. Okay. Now, as Sujata said, there is no permission required for the competent authority, and there is definitely some rules or the permissions required for the hospital-based authorization committee, and the state has to approve such committees to be performed at the hospital level. Now, let's not mix up the concept of competent authority and the hospital-based authorization committee. Now, can we have any questions as of now?
Sir, may I?
Yeah, is it something that we had in the polls and after the talk of
No,
first?
no,
Huh?
no, 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 no,
Okay,
no.
can we
Absolutely not.
just reserve your
With
question in the last part? If you had in the
Yeah,
polls,
fine. Absolutely.
yeah, please do. And if someone has any queries that you had during the poll and which you think was wrong initially and now you got corrected, any discussions on that? Okay, now if no such queries, let's move on to the results, Sujata.
Yogita, can you please show the results? Sir, can you see?
Oh, my dear. Okay.
Participants, can you see the results? Can someone please acknowledge whether you
Yes,
guys
we
are able to-
can. We can. We can.
Yes, yes, we can. Well, 69% have said competent authority should be approved by state authority or some approvals is required. I hope now you are clear about that. Sujata, would you like to take each question and then give your response?
Okay, should I take it? Okay. Right. So the first question is, to form a competent authority, a hospital must obtain approval from appropriate authority. See, this is why we had this overview. 69%, majority have said yes, true, which is not actually true. As I said, the law nowhere tells that to form a competent authority, you need to take permission from appropriate authority. No. To get a transplant license, you need to take the license from the appropriate authority. But once you get the license to form a competent authority, you don't need any special permission. It tells you who the competent authority is, which is your head of the hospital. So majority, again, I think good that we had some discussion on this. Head of the institution who is a transplant nephrologist. Second question. Head of the institution who's a transplant nephrologist shall serve as competent authority. True, only 17%, false 83%. Yes, yeah. Even though I'm the head of the institute, as per the law, if I'm a transplant nephrologist, can I be the competent authority? I purposely did not cover it because I wanted it for the discussion. Yes, because again, I said there is only one limitation or definition which has been given in the law, that nobody involved in the transplant related activities should be part of the competent authority. So though I am a head of the institution, if I'm the transplant nephrologist, then that becomes a conflict of interest. So I can no longer be the competent authority. In that case, I need to form an independent committee to do this job. So false is the right answer. Glad that majority has given that answer. The competent authority and the hospital-based authorization committee are not the same.
We can
Okay,
skip
right.
this. Let's go to the fourth one.
Fourth one.
Yeah.
Establishing spousal relationship through children via tissue typing is must for the competent authority for approval. Okay, we had it for intention because the case-based discussion is going to be on this. True has been said by 60%, whereas 40% said false. Anyone who has answered true, could you please tell me where exactly or how exactly it is interpreted that establishing the spousal relationship via children through tissue typing has been written as must? Can anyone please tell me if you have noticed anywhere such clause written in the law? It would be really helpful for me to understand because
Yeah, so do us.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can I answer?
Yeah,
please.
who's this?
Ma'am, actually, I'm bit doubt because if children are not there, how they will prove that? So that was my question. First, if children are there, it is better to do that.
Now the question
Okay.
is, it is not better or feasible or the desirable thing. The question is
Yes.
it mandatory?
It is
Whether
not.
it is a mandatory?
When children are there, okay, we can, but it is not mandatory.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's what she
So
was trying to
whether it is mandatory or a desirable document, there is a difference between that, right? Like whether it is mandatory or desirable. So 60% have said mandatory. Sir, would you like to give your comment on this?
Well, I also have these questions, discussed at many platforms and many queries being raised at having the spousal donations happening. And as a matter of fact, even with other than near related, also HLA or the tissue typing becomes one of the mandatory documents as per the checklist. Now we are doing documentation just which is there as a checklist part of the documentation. Actually, it is not. Now the law doesn't require or demand HLA typing or the genetical relationship between the spousal donation. Now, to have it as a desirable documentation, yes, it is fine. To have more confidence about the pair, you can definitely do that. But the law doesn't demand it as a mandatory document for that. Now, you will have to.
Can I come in, sir?
Yes, sir. Please go on.
So this is a very interesting.
Identify yourself. Identify yourself, sir.
Yeah, my name is Tyagraj.
Okay.
I'm a transplant coordinator.
Where are you
This is
from?
very interesting. Actually, you don't need for spousal, you have Form 2. But when there's a swab transplant, there is a problem. This problem created in government hospital in Tamil Nadu. That's the reason there is no swab transplant in Tamil Nadu government institution. Why? Because one of the donor, the recipient had bought a second wife, stating that she's my wife. So that is how this problem has come. So
you
if
had
it's a
the
swab
first wife,
transplant,
you had
when
the
it comes to
first wife.
swab transplant, then you require this HLA typing.
No. So let's fix your first question, sir. You said about the second wife. You had the first wife alive and
second.
divorced.
They bring on the record they bring a second wife, but it is not actually it is happened.
What happened?
This is a story in Tamil Nadu, wherein this is where I'm working on it.
No, Mr. Tyagu, our question is.
What are you working on it? Sir, can you just elaborate your query, sir?
This I cannot. This is a big story. There is no swab transplant in Tamil Nadu government. You don't know that?
Yeah, quite possible, sir.
Yes.
But what is the reason?
There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it. Earlier there was a swab transplant government institution in Tamil Nadu.
Sir, you mean to say this could happen only with a swab transplant?
Yes.
Can it not happen between direct like
I disagree with that. No, that is not true. It is.
Sorry, we have your voice interrupted. I'm so sorry. Mr. Tyagu, I got your, we understand, not understand, whatever you're trying to give the picture, we got it. But our counter question is, if it is between direct spouse, like husband to wife, do you think that the second wife, first wife issue is not considered? It's not only for the swap, it could be for any case when there is a second wife. If it is forged or like the story of the complete story is not revealed, then it could be even problem for the straightaway husband and wife case, not only for a swap a donation and transplant. So just okay, so we'll just move on to the next question for the want of time, and we can take up your questions and concerns towards the end of the discussion if we have more time.
Yes.
As per the rules 2014, NOC is mandatory for all living donor transplant if it is performed in a different state. 54% said yes, 46% said false. False is the actual right. That's the right answer, because NOC is not mandatory. Because as I said, now it's the word NOC itself doesn't come into the play after the amendment has been passed. That's number one. Number two, even if they are talking about Form 20, then it is applicable only for the living other than near relative donor and transplants, not for all living donor transplants. So that is the trick here. So it's written living donor transplant. So pulling together both related and the unrelated. So Form 20, or if you, because we have been using NOC, if you had interpreted that way, even then it is not applicable for all living donor transplants, applicable only for other than near relative donor transplants. Both hospital-based authorization committee and state-level authorization committee function similarly in approving transplants. 63% has said true. Yes, that is the right answer. 37% said
Well,
false.
Sujata, just correlate with the question number 2 or 3.
Mhm.
Yeah, the competent authority and the hospital-based authorization committee are not the same. Here, most of them have said yes, having a clarity about the hospital-based authorization committee and competent authority. So let's not get again mixed up here. Yeah, the hospital-based authorization committee is, as Sujata said, is one and very much integral part of the authorization committee at the state level, be it the district level and the hospital. So that's a bifurcation. It is not the competent authority here which being asked. Yes, Sujata, go on.
The competent authority shall oversee related donor transplants for both Indian nationals and foreign nationals. Majority has given right answer, which is false, 72%. However, 28% said true. Please, I guess now you must have got the clarity that though they are near relatives, the foreign nationals cannot be treated by the competent authority. Those applications should be treated only by the authorization committee, again, at whatever level, but definitely not by the competent authority. If the proposed transplant is between foreign national near relatives, hospital-based authorization committee shall approve such transplants. Again, only 44% has said yes, true. 56% said false. That means, what is your interpretation? Do you guys think that only the state authorization committee should approve foreign national transplants? In that case, again, the interpretation is not correct. As I said, all three authorization committees serve, they are entitled to function the same way. There is no distinction, there is no limitation. So, the hospital-based authorization committee can very much approve the foreign national near-relative donor transplants or other than near-relative donor transplants, doesn't matter, but any foreign national transplants, it can be treated by the hospital-based authorization committee as well. Yeah, so again, majority is wrong here. So hope the orientation has helped you to understand little more details about the two different committees that we have under the legal framework.
Okay, if required, we can run this as a post poll also at the end of the session and then see how much transmissions have gone through. So thank you, Sujata. That was really a fantastic session again for yet another time. Thank you so much, Sujata.
Sure.
Okay, now with that, let's move on to the core session for the day and to discuss some couple of case studies. And to start with, I would invite Mr. Gibson John, who's an old colleague of mine. Gibson serves as a senior manager, multi-organ transplant at Aster, Bangalore. He's a postgraduate in social work, and he brings in with 17 years of experience as transplant coordinator. And over the years, he has been associated with prominent institutions, including ZCCK at the state level, and the BGS Global, where we had an opportunity to work together and contributing significantly in the field of organ donation and transplant. Welcome, Gibson, and floor is for you.
Thank you, Neeraji. Good evening, dear friends. So let me share my PPT. Yeah. Okay, so dear friends, I'm going to discuss with you about a case which I coordinated in the year of 2019. So this is a renal transplant case. This is a renal transplant case. So this was an Indian case. So let's go into details. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to discuss with you about the details of the case, the patient details, and I will also discuss about the roadblocks that I faced while coordinating this case, and the measures that we have taken to overcome these roadblocks and the outcome. So these are the things that I'm going to share with you. So while coming to the patient details, so I will discuss with you about the social demographic profile as well as the documents that the patients patient and donor submitted. So as I mentioned, this was a kidney transplant of an Indian patient, 45-year-old. The donor was 45-year-old and the recipient was 35-year-old. So recipient was married. The recipient was a male and B positive blood group. Donor was 45 years. He was also married. And so the relationship that the donor and recipient claimed was of sister, I mean biological sister. Yeah. Now the documents that the patient and donor submitted were to the because this I will tell you the story later. I mean the issue the problem that we faced here was, though the initial presentation was that they are related as brother and sister, biological brother and sister, the DNA profile report when we did that showed that they are half siblings. So this was the whole confusion. So then finally we had to submit the case to the authorization committee. I will come to that. So these are the documents that we submitted to the authorization committee. So initially the case was discussed in the competent authority. So there was a letter from the chairman of the competent authority, that was a referral letter to the authorization committee to take up the case in that committee. And as usual, the treating doctor had given a request letter to the committee to consider the case for approval. And there was a police verification also conducted. So the police verification report was there. It was submitted. And form number 1 was submitted by the donor. It's a donor declaration. Form number 4.
Your voice is not audible to me. Can you increase the volume?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's okay now.
Okay. So I was saying that this case was submitted to the authorization committee because initially it was discussed in the competent authority, but the competent authority opined that since it is not, there is a doubt that the DNA report showed that this is not full sibling. This is not like biological brother and sister. So the competent authority said that it will not come under their ambit of giving approval. So they have forwarded this case to the state. I mean, not the state, the hospital authorization committee. So the first document that was submitted along with the file was the letter from the chairman of the competent authority to refer the case to the authorization committee. And there was a request from the treating doctor, as always, to the committee requesting for permission, and police verification was conducted for this case. So police verification report was also submitted. Form number 1 is a declaration, it's a declaration by the donor. So that was there. Form number 4, it's a fitness of the donor by the transplant surgeon. And form number 11, it's a joint application by the donor as well as recipient to the committee requesting for permission. And the recipient's affidavit was there. It is a declaration and consent for kidney transplant operation by the recipient. And there was an affidavit by the donor also. That was a declaration, declaration and consent for kidney donation operation. Yeah. And the other documents submitted by the donor and recipient were like their ID cards, like ration card, Aadhaar card, voter ID, driving license, residential certificate issued by the Tahsildar. All these were to prove the identity and address of the donor as well as recipient. School certificate, there was no birth certificate available for this donor and recipient pair. Only the school certificate was there for the recipient. That was a 10th marks card, SSLC certificate, wherein the parents' name were mentioned. But for the donor did not go till 10th. So she just had a transfer certificate, and that was like only the father name was mentioned and the date of birth, not much in detail. And then for proving the relationship, we had a family tree issued by the Tahsildar, and some old family photos were there. And then we did the DNA profiling test, and we got the form 5 also from the laboratory where we did the DNA test. So so these are the proofs for relationship. And apart from that, we collected some income documents also, and there were some other ID cards of the other people who have given no objection, and medical records also were there. Yeah. So these were the documents that we submitted to the committee. And the roadblocks were like basically the claimed relationship was brother and sister, but the DNA report showed that this is half sibling. So this was the interpretation, which was mentioned on the DNA report. So it clearly stated that the probability of half siblings is 99.99%. So it very clearly said that one of the parent is, not the same. Yeah. Yeah. So the measures that we taken to overcome this case. So due to this mismatch in relationship, first we discussed with the family. When as soon as we got the the DNA report, we just wanted to clarify with the family. We just spoke to the donor as well as recipient separately, but they they denied. So they stuck on to the same the claim that they were not aware at all about any such thing. So they just said that they are really brother and sister, and all the documents, like most of the documents also suggested the same, including the family tree as well as the residential certificate, and all those things, the documents submitted by, issued by the Tahsildar and all that. So then we discussed with the in-house legal consultant, who is a lawyer, and so he actually went through all the documents which were available at that time, and he said that okay, it can be referred to the competent authority. He said that the proposal falls under the under the ambit of near relatives, but the DNA report showed that it's half sibling. So it is up to the committee, the competent authority, to decide whether this case can be considered under the ambit of near relative or not. And then it went to the competent authority, and without calling the donor as well as recipient, the competent authority had a meeting actually to discuss about this case. When they had a competent authority meeting for some other patient pair, so they just discussed this also in that committee. So in that, they suggested a few things. So they suggested a police verification also. And then we did the police verification. So the police also reported everything is fine. So they reported that they are brother and sister. Yeah. So in the police verification also, the report also cleared. And so, but the competent authority in the discussions, they said, it will not come under the ambit of near relative. So there is confusion. So they said, like, competent authority cannot decide on this case. So they said it is ideal to be discussed in the authorization committee. So they decided to refer the case to the authorization committee. And they also suggested an external legal opinion, from a eminent lawyer. So which we did later. So we submitted the documents to the authorization committee later, and along with the letter of referral from the chairman of the competent authority, and the state the hospital, we had an in-house authorization committee. So in-house authorization committee requested for a external legal opinion, which we took, and that was also submitted to the committee. And then the external legal counsel also recommended for approval actually. So there was two, the patient and donor were related in two ways. One was that they both are half sibling, but their claim was full siblings, but the DNA report proved that they're half siblings, but they were also related as mother-in-law and son-in-law, because the patient's wife was donor's daughter. So that was also another relation. And finally, the committee, we discussed in the committee interviewed the donor, recipient, the donor's husband, and recipient's wife. They interviewed all the people separately, and they considered all these factors, the legal opinion from the hospital's lawyer as well as an external counsel, and they also considered the police verification report and everything. And finally, they approved as, in the letter of, form number 18, they mentioned as half sibling, but the committee approved, and the outcome was we did the transplant successfully. Yeah. So any questions you can ask now?
Gibson, I was just worried about the outcome slide. I was really, really worried. I was thinking where the committee would have turned down. Anyway, before going to a couple of my questions, any questions from the floor?
Yes, I have the questions. Hello.
Yeah, please tell me, sir.
Yeah, Gibson, myself, Raju from Zydus Hospital in Dawar.
Please tell me, sir.
So you told me that they are the half siblings. In that way, they are the parents, the mother and parents are the difference, or so does they are the same father or same mother?
Yeah, either of the parent might be different, the father or mother.
Okay.
But when we discussed with the family, so they didn't disclose anything, and I think probably they were unaware
So
of
at
the
the time of submission of documents, they don't disclose that, right?
No, even at the time of all the documents were like full siblings, brother and sister,
Sir, what
like
is
the
your
school
question, sir?
certificate.
What is your question?
His question is whether the father is this, I mean, like the same person, or which parent,
Okay.
both of them had as a common
Okay.
parent.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Mr. Raju, as Gibson said, they did not even know that they are only half siblings.
Yeah.
So until the hospital had medical documents saying that no, you are not full siblings, only half siblings, until then, they did not know that they had one parent, different parents. So that's what Gibson was saying.
Yeah.
And both the parents were not alive,
One of the
so
parent
they
had
couldn't.
deceased. One of the parent had deceased. The mother was there, but we didn't take an effort to do the test with mother actually. So when we discussed with the family completely believed that they are brother and sister. Yeah.
I have a
Gibson,
question,
I
please.
just
Yeah, Mr. Gibson.
hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Please
Yeah,
tell me.
Gibson.
Yeah. I can hear you, sir.
Gibson, this is Sagayam.
Yeah. Please tell me.
Yeah, I think it is definitely it is an interesting case, but my concern about after the donation, after you reveal that to your half sister, what is the reaction from the family? I'm eager to know because sometimes it can be in overall even if the DNA or HLA, there is a chance of coming like these kind of masses, like out of 8. So how many panels you have done with the HLA?
No, it was not actually. It was a DNA profiling test. So we really,
Okay.
cannot either. We can repeat the test in some other laboratory, but
Yeah.
really
So in this, I'm more worried about in terms of psychological impact on the patient and the donor. So I'm more worried about. So I don't think if the documents are okay to proceed and HLA showing there is a sibling match or whatever it is called scientifically, but psychological aspects also as coordinators we need to see and make it melodious or make it soft and go ahead. That's what I feel. So yes, it is an interesting case.
Yeah.
There will be like this, but when you this much of extended analysis, is it required? I'm little doubt about it, but yes, it is good to bring it to your common forum. But my concern is what is the psychological feedback or what is their response when you said this. That is, I'm more worried about that.
Yeah. I truly, understand your concern. This was my concern also because, it will be a
Because this test is making themselves either to doubt the mother whatever it is called. So it is their loyalty to the father. So it is obviously there should be something wrong with the mother only.
Yeah, we
Okay,
didn't
so
call the mother actually. The mother was not in the picture. So we just discussed with
no,
the
no,
mother.
it is not mother and not in the picture.
Yeah.
So mother is alive. The patient and the donors are. They claim to be a sister, and
Sorry
you
to
say that you
interrupt.
are off.
Sorry to
You are
interrupt.
off.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, but I don't think that in this our session we should discuss the personal what is happened after that.
No, that is not. If you are a coordinator and if you are concerned about the legal aspect, at the same time, there is not much of required so much to go into detail to go ahead with the process of transplant. That's what my feedback.
Okay, fine. Okay, sir. Sagayam, sir, you being one of the senior most in the field, Do you think this case is fit enough to be handled at the competent authority level?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the bottom line, and probably we should have such cases if we had any such cases in our days to come. So thanks, Gibson. That was
Yeah,
a clarity
I
that we
had
needed
a
today.
few cases like this. That's why I'm bringing it to your knowledge.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So there's one question in the chat box. What made you to do the DNA profiling if the donor and recipient are near relatives? Gibson, instead of HLA profiling, why did you go for, HLA typing, why did you go for DNA profiling?
Yeah, I mean, it is nothing, but it is not, I know it is not mandatory by law, but, as a hospital's practice and policy that we do DNA profiling test for all the cases.
Oh my dear.
Not because that we had a doubt in this, but we have a policy that we do whichever case for all kidney transplant and liver transplant, we do a DNA profiling test. We don't do HLA typing test for any patient. We do
Okay.
only DNA
So
profiling.
any near relatives, you do the
Yes.
DNA profiling straight away.
Yes. Even second degree relations also we do DNA. So
Why is
actually in
that?
Karnataka for authorization committee, DNA test is mandatory.
Is that needed?
If it is a cousin, a nephew, niece, whatever, especially international patients, even if
Do
it
you
is
have it as a
also.
written checklist document from your state authorization committee? Do you have it as it?
Yeah, I mean earlier there was long back there was a scam actually in Karnataka. I mean kind of this thing. So that happened to the state authorization committee. So after that there were a few guidelines and given by the then chairman of the authorization committee stating that even if in that case happened with an international patient. So they were more particular about international cases. So they said like the national ID card is mandatory apart from passport, because earlier only with passport the authorization committee used to take up the case and then they used to clear it. They said like the another national ID card is mandatory, and they said like for any whatever is the relation, so DNA test, wherever DNA profiling test can give some kind of in terms of proving the relationship, DNA test is mandatory. So that's what they made, and ever after we are doing for all the cases, whichever case we are submitting to authorization committee, DNA test is mandatory. But for competent authority, it is not mandatory. But as a hospital's policy, we are doing it.
Now
So it's more like
Gibson.
a state protocol and hospital protocol that you guys by default do this.
Yeah.
Should we summarize that way?
No, the other hospitals may not be doing the DNA test. Some of them will be doing, HLA test. That's the hospital's policy different. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to authorization committee, for example, authorization committee cases will be only foreign cases, right? Foreign nationals, whether
But Gibson, if in the form 5 it says either HLA or DNA, it is not mandatory.
No, it is again state protocol. That's what Gibson is saying, sir.
That's what said. What he says is there was an issue where the problem was identified, and they made it mandatory for all the cases instead of
for that particular hospital, not for the.
No, I
I'm
heard
talking about authorization committee in Karnataka in general, whichever.
No. Gibson, you are getting confused. See, you said for this particular case, you claiming to be a sibling, you did a DNA, correct?
This case is different.
So that is no. Let me clarify for the whole group.
Yeah.
So this particular case, you said it is a DNA, okay? But as per your hospital requirement is all the patients, either first degree, second degree, or whether the competent authority or hospital authorization committee, you do DNA, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Am I correct? My understanding?
Correct.
So, but in Karnataka, those who are going for authorization committee, DNA is mandatory. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So your hospital policy is doing DNA. That is why you, even though they claim to be a sibling, and you asked for a DNA. That's it.
Yes.
Yes, but not for all the hospitals in Karnataka or in any other state does not ask for a mandatory DNA test for all cases.
Yes.
As per the Form 5, it is either HLA or DNA.
Boss, I think HLA typing doesn't have a value now. I think
No. It's definitely it has got definitely it's a value. You can't say just it does not have value. It definitely it has got.
Okay, sir. I agree.
As per the 2014
I agree
rules
that.
and my understanding, They only suggest DNA profiling test if you want to do if you want to prove the relationship scientifically. This is what my
Okay,
understanding.
Gypsum,
So maybe
I
others
think,
can also.
yeah, it's a lengthy discussions. In
Yeah.
fact, we need to more have clarity on that. Just one last question before we go to the next speaker.
Yeah.
What is the costing between the HLA and DNA profiling? How much it is burden to the patients?
I don't think there is much difference. I think sometimes DNA profiling is less costlier than HLA typing.
Okay, so in
This is
that
what I
case,
feel.
let's switch
Please,
to DNA rather than HLA.
please share the cost.
No,
Netaji, I'm here.
see, DNA. See, I know
DNA is
places in
cheaper
Bangalore.
than HLA.
HLA typing is charged 24,000. We are doing HLA the DNA test for 20,000.
Okay.
Lily is also saying
DNA
the
is
same
cheaper
thing. Is
than
it
HLA.
Lily?
Lily, come on.
I'm
Lily,
Lily
come
here.
on. Yes,
I
Lily, go
said
on.
HLA is costlier than DNA.
Yeah.
HLA in Delhi costs 25. And sorry, DNA in Delhi costs 25,000 rupees, and HLA costs 30,000 rupees.
Well, if that is the case, and DNA has a much better clarity in terms of the
Yes.
relationship, and it
HLA again,
doesn't pinch much on the
there is a
patient.
loophole always in
Oh
HLA.
yeah. So in that way, it is better.
Yeah.
Gypsum, thank you again. It was really a fantastic case study, and I hope the bottom line is let us fix this at the competent authority level. Thank you, Gypsum. Now,
Gypsum, I know you got another schedule, but if time permits, could you please stay back just in
No
case if
issues.
there are more questions coming towards the end? It would be nice if we could have you here with us.
No issues.
Yeah.
I will stay. Yeah.
Okay.
Sir,
Thank
please.
you. For the next speaker of the day, I would like to invite Ms. Banu. Ms. Banu is an experienced senior nursing officer at JIPMA, and she has been actively involved in both cadaver and living donor transplants. Currently serving as a transplant coordinator in the nephrology unit, and Banu plays a very key role in managing as I said, both living donor transplant and deceased donor transplant. And with active involvement in over 60 transplants, Banu brings additional expertise in critical care as well, along with maternal and neonatal care. Welcome, Banu. The floor is for you. Can you raise your volume? It is too low.
Yeah, Banu ma'am, we could not hear you clearly, and also please switch on your video. Yeah, we could see you now. However, the voice is very low now.
No, it is not audible at all.
It would be helpful if you could use your earphones or headphones if you have the provision. Ma'am, you're muted.
Yeah. It's very feeble.
It's very feeble, ma'am.
It's very feeble.
Do you have your headphones next to you?
No.
Very feeble.
No. Oh, extremely feeble. Okay. Until Banu gets back to work. Any other question that you wanted to discuss?
There are a couple of questions on the chat box. So
please
just Mr. Tiago has asked, is the police verification mandatory?
Yeah, that was
not
one other.
him, Lokesh.
Yeah, that was one
Lokesh.
other question that I have parked for Gypsum. Gypsum, would you like to respond to that?
Yeah, police verification is not mandatory at all.
Okay.
But again, this is a requirement for the authorization committee in Karnataka, that whether it is a state committee or hospital-based authorization committee, any case going to the authorization committee, they will ask for police verification.
So you mean to say it is mandatory in the authorization committee?
Yes, not for competent authority cases. But some hospitals still practicing in Karnataka, some hospitals still, taking police verification for all the cases, whether it is near relative or non-near relative, whether it is an Indian or this thing, they are doing, police verification for all the cases. Not for
now, what purpose does it serve?
It is just like a passport verification. The police will
Now
go to their
let us
house and
assume.
then they will verify
Let us
the
assume,
address.
Gypsum. Let us assume
Yeah.
I have 5 FIRs filed against me.
Yeah.
I have a criminal record.
Yeah.
But my brother is ailing and he needs a kidney transplant.
Yeah.
If there is a police verification, they're going to say that this guy is a criminal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, do you want? I mean, do you mean to say that I have no rights to, donate my kidney?
Absolutely, there are rights. This I think there was a verdict from Kerala High Court also similar. The donor was having a criminal background, and then the court given the permission. So absolutely, that and this doesn't have any relation. But this police verification, there are 2-3 things that they are cross checking. Like one is the address. They are deputing a staff, and that staff will go to the donors and recipients' house, and then they will verify that this donor and recipient are really staying in that house, and who are the family members. They are mentioning all the family members details, and they are verifying their relationship also, that they will clearly mention that okay, this is the relationship between the donor as well as recipient. And there is also, they are taking statements of the donor, recipient, and all the family members, and some neighbors also in some of the cases, stating that whether this relationship, whatever claim is true or not, and whether there is any I mean, neighbors, like only in some cases maybe, but they are taking statements of the family members also, that whether there is a force on the donor, whether there is any monetary benefit for the donor, whether there is any criminal background on the donor. There are various, it is not only one angle, as you said. It is not only the criminal background, but they're also checking. They are making the committee people's job easier by giving a report stating that.
That's what I was about to
That
say.
is fine. That's what one. Yes.
It is
Yeah,
just shifting responsibility from one end to the other end.
Exactly.
And I don't know whether how many police will be, interested in doing it,
But sir,
without any, additional, expectations, which is.
You are rightly said.
they are
Another
giving,
way of making money for the police.
Oh, that is
Yeah,
going to
absolutely.
extend, or it is going to be another pressure on the recipients or the donor for that matter. Having transplant itself is an expensive business, and to have these documentations done, it is going to extend or drain their funds which they have collected. Now, 2 reasons. One, if there is a recipient and a donor in 2 different places or 2 different districts, what is the police going to establish a relationship between these two? Are they going to make a physical visit to the recipient and the donor?
Yeah, if there are 2 districts, so it will be 2 different requests will be sent to 2 different districts. One to the donor.
Oh my dear, it is a tedious process, Gibson. I am really surprised about that, and that's what we are worried about, the local tahsildars at the revenue level. Now it is getting into the law and order also. So I don't know. It is going to be making more difficult for the patients who taking transplants. Now, any
As
comment
we're
on that?
talking about
Yes.
police verification, just want to, just want to quote what the legal framework actually says.
Yep.
Like we all know that, like the original act and the rules, it had mention of anyone with criminal records or drug addicts. It's been written. But if we look at it carefully now in the amended act and the amended rules, the word criminal record has been removed. So as Mr. Netaji said, whether I'm donating to my sister or I'm donating to my friend, even if I have an old record of criminal charges against me, that is as per the law. Again, I'm talking about the central law. The amended new law and the rules clearly had taken away the word criminal record. So that comes with a purpose, obviously. Having said that,
Now, Sujata, just
since-
one more point on that. Now, we have seen recipients with criminal records getting transplanted. Yeah, why not the donors? Now, when we can, show so much of concerns to the recipients, and somebody who is intent to donate to save some life, we should have more, liberty towards that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing which you need to consider.
So the law has a very clear provision for that. That's what I'm saying. But again, when it comes to state protocols, hospital protocols, it becomes a desirable document, which becomes very tedious, time consuming, financially burdening the families and the patients. Yeah. Banu ma'am, have you got it started?
Banu, your voice is really feeble. We couldn't hear you at all.
Could you please check your volume level in your machine, whether you're using laptop or desktop?
Is it 100%? Are you using a headphone, Banu?
Yes. Yeah, so if no other way, let's get started. Otherwise, we will be really late.
Oh, we can't follow her. What she's.
Ma'am, could you please come closer to the machine?
Ma'am, or you can join from your phone.
If you could join from your phone, and if you have your slides, share it with me. I can share your slides and you could join with your phone. Attend the meeting from the phone. Can you please share? Is there any change? Yes, ma'am. Your slides? I'm sending you. Please send it to my email ID.
Okay. In the meantime, Sujata, any other questions in the chat box?
I heard Kerala, I think Kerala, it cost around 2 lakhs for documentation alone. I don't know.
We can do half of
Anybody
the kidney
attending?
transplant, my dear.
Minute. Sunwell, question from Sunwell, Form 5 isn't it mandatory for near relative transplant? So would you like to answer this?
Gibson, are you still there?
Yeah, tell me that, Ajay.
Okay. The question is it mandatory to have Form 5? Am I correct, Sujata?
Is it mandatory to have Form 5?
See, Form 5 will be
Is
applicable
it
only
not
if you do DNA test.
Sorry?
Form 5 will be applicable only if you do DNA test. But DNA profiling test is not as such not mandatory. That's what we discussed. So if you do DNA test for a near relative, definitely you'll get Form 5, but not mandatory.
No.
So in this case, I'm just going back to your sessions. I did notice it, but I wanted to reserve it for the last. You did say that authorization committee gave the approval in Form 18, right?
Form 18, yes.
Okay. So did you use Form 1 or Form 3 for donor consent?
No, we use Form 1. That's why I specifically mentioned, no, Form 1, yeah.
Form 1,
They
right?
didn't ask us to change. So they didn't really consider it as a non-near relative. I mean, I think the committee in Karnataka, they consider it as a near relative only, but, our competent authority was not, confident to take up the case. So they said like, it is not under our
So it's purely considered as a near relative, just that the competent authority is not convinced that they are not able to conclusively establish the relationship. So they just moved it to the authorization committee, and the approval came in Form 18, is it? Okay.
Form 18.
Johnson.
Not 19, yeah.
Yeah, Form 18, yeah. Johnson, would you like to express your concerns? Would you be able to unmute and talk?
Yes, Johnson.
I know you have written a long passage.
Yeah, I
so
saw. I did saw that. Would you
yeah,
like
it
to?
would be better. Yeah, it would be better if you express your concerns.
No, I just put it in the chat box so that we don't waste our time too much on this discussion. So this extra documents like police clearance, if the committee makes it mandatory,
Hi,
of
ma'am.
course, if the committee
Hi,
makes it mandatory,
Sujata, ma'am.
Just give me a minute, ma'am. I'm opening your slides.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, continue.
Sorry for the
to be very precise, I am not in favor of this police clearance and extra documents. But I agree, if the committee makes it mandatory, then of course we have to provide them. We have no other choices. But sometimes these committees keep changing. As you gave an introduction about Gibson, he works for 17 years, and there are coordinators working for more than 17 years. So it is the coordinators, we have more experience than these committee members. So they don't make this checklist until and unless we starting to provide extra documents. No, sometimes even the coordinators themselves thinking that they take an extra care, they take an extra safety, and they're starting to provide a lot of additional documents. So all these additional documents are just adding to the checklist, and they are asking for everyone to submit that. And
Well said, Johnson.
I hear that even the Telangana has a similar protocol. Whatever the documents are submitted by some coordinators, it is just getting added to the checklist, and they are making it mandatory.
And
So,
invariably, it becomes mandatory without any reason.
yeah.
Well said,
Exactly.
Johnson.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Johnson, I'm not sure whether it is absolutely 100% true or not, but exactly I heard similar concern from one state, though the application clearly
Hello.
states that it's unrelated
Yes.
transplant. They had made it as one of the mandated document that DNA profiling has to be there to prove that they are not near relatives. So they have got to that level. When the application clearly states they are other than near relatives, still you need to submit your DNA profiling between the donor and the recipient. Yeah, that level of documentation is there.
Okay.
So could you see the?
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome back, Banu. I hope you're clear now. Is your audio fine now?
Ma'am, you are muted.
Yeah, please unmute your audio. You're still muted.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
better. Yeah, much better now.
Hello. Unmuted, actually.
Yes, Banu, we can hear you now. Go on.
Okay, sir. Very good evening to everyone. I thank for this opportunity given to me. Actually, I am going to speak about a case where we proceeded as a related and ended up as a non-related transplant. Okay, the case history. Mr. X, aged 45 years. His blood group is B positive, and though he is married, we proceeded for LDRT, and his sister is the donor. Mrs. Y, aged 42 years, her blood group is O positive, and she is also married. After obtaining all the fitnesses and clearance for transplant, documents were compiled and HLA was processed. Then when we saw the report, it was a challenge for us because only 2/6 matches were there. So genetically, we couldn't prove their relationship. Ma'am, next slide, please. Next, ma'am. And after that, we did HLA typing with another sister, Mrs. Is that 40 years? And even then, that matching was 2/6. But between the sisters, it was 6/6. But we couldn't establish the relation. Indirectly, also, we couldn't establish because both the parents were not alive. Next slide, ma'am. And this is another sister's HLA. Next, ma'am. Next. And because genetically it is not proven, and JIPMER nephrology department prepared a letter to the state level authorization committee with approval recommended and forwarded by MS. He is our competent authority for the approval of kidney transplant. Letter was submitted. Next, ma'am. And after initial discussion, state level authorization committee has said evidentially documents are confirming that they are both siblings. So JIPMER can proceed with the transplant with the relationship certificate, legal hire certificate, residential certificate and all. But again, JIPMER denied that thing, and they said since it is genetically not proven, they were not ready to take up the transplant. Hence, the application was resubmitted to the state level authorization committee. Next slide, ma'am. And reapplication was given. Next, ma'am. And after that, committee meeting was held, and personally, committee interviewed both recipient donor and the donor deponents, family members, everyone. Documents they verified, and addition to that, to see the commercial transaction, they verified the bank statements. All were clear, and finally, since JIPMER is not taking this, unanimously, state level authorization committee has told that this case can be treated as unrelated to proceed with the transplant. Next slide, ma'am. And finally, we changed the Form 1 to Form 3, donor consent form, we changed. And for both the donor and recipient point of view, it was hard for them to accept that we are changing it as from related to unrelated. But still, the bonding was so good, they didn't believe all this. But that sister told, anyway, I want my brother to survive. I want to donate my kidney. Some time delay was there. Finally, Form 18 was approved by the state level authorization committee, and he got transplant done. Even now, he is under our follow-up. Both are okay, sister and brother, still the same thing. They didn't mind about this report. Any questions?
Well, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. Now,
Thank you for, I delayed, so I speeded up. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. In spite of that, you had a very interesting case to present, Ms. Banu. Now, the primary question, what if there is a mismatch in the DNA profile or the HLA profile?
Mismatch, 1 second.
Now, if there is a
HLA
mismatch,
profile.
if there is a mismatch, now, Sagayam sir, if you can please come in and comment on that. Now, if there is a mismatch, do you think they are unrelated?
Actually, 2/6 Alice, that HLA-A, B, DR, D8.
DQ, yeah. ABDRDQ, I understand
B1
that.
was done.
Okay, I understand that. But if there is a complete mismatch, yeah, scientifically, is it considered as unrelated?
No, scientifically,
No.
Actually, we can't say now. It's
yeah, I understand that.
unrelated.
I understand that, but the question is, what made you to declare this as unrelated? I mean, at the state level is what I was asking. You represented this case in spite of giving.
No, genetically, when Form 5 was given by immunologist, it is said that genetically this relationship could not be established. In JIPMER, without genetic establishment, our competent authority won't give the approval.
Okay, so it is the competent authority's
So we
decision
went for state level authorization committee.
Ma'am, when the HLA typing was not conclusive, did your team not recommend for DNA profiling?
No, ma'am.
Did they straight want to go and consider?
Actually, DNA profiling was not recommended.
Was not recommended by your team, is it?
Yes.
Tilly, you had anything to share?
No, ma'am. This is what a scenario. It happened.
This is
And
siblings.
just I told you that.
This is sibling case, right?
Yes.
Yes. Sister
Okay.
to
In the
brother.
if the HLA 25% cases in siblings, HLA can be a mismatch, but that doesn't mean that they are not siblings. In that case, what you can do is that you can either do parental HLA. If the parents are alive, either father or mother, you
His
can do
parents
a
were not
parental.
alive.
Okay, then in that case, you can
Both
DNA and prove
parents
the
were not
sibling
alive, so
relationship.
we couldn't indirectly also establish.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Banu, I understand your
Then in that
concerns.
case, we can do a DNA directly.
That is my exact question, Trilly. Exactly, that's my question. When it is not very conclusive, why didn't they go for DNA profiling? Exactly my question
Yes,
was.
we can do an autosomal DNA in case of a near related.
Now, Trilly and Sujata, my question in between. Now, I understand there is a mismatch profiling in HLA, and in spite of not doing DLA.
Yes.
Banu
Hello.
ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you didn't do DNA profile. I agree with that. But you submitted the documents to, state authorization committee. My question is, interestingly, this state authorization committee declared them as unrelated rather than looking at the other aspects.
No, interestingly, the State Authorization Committee had told JIPMER to consider this and solve it within the competent
JIPMER
authority. In
only
spite of
denied.
it, JIPMER didn't want it.
What does that mean? Did they give directions to the competent authority to take it as a near related
The
or
initial
not to bring
decision
it to
was
us
to
within?
take for transplant.
I'm sorry, Bonu.
Hello?
Come again?
Initial decision was
Okay.
just to take for a transplant only, they said from state level committee, authorization committee.
Okay, take a transplant at what relationship? Brother,
Sir,
sister?
actually, I'll just read out 1 second, Netaji sir. I'll just read out the line from our HLA department, Form 5. Okay.
Okay.
The fact of this relationship could not be established by the results of the test for DNA profiling. Recipient and the donor share 2/6 Alice HLA B DRB1 Loki.
Okay, now I can recall a similar case way back in 2012 or 11. My nephrologist had a similar HLA profile, and he said that there is 15 to 25% of the cases which will not match. Now, that doesn't mean that this case should be considered as unrelated. And those days, without not many clarity, he took the permission from the state authorization committee to take it forward, just to keep them informed. Not that he had no authority to take it forward as the at the competent authority, but he said that let me just keep the information to the state authority, and he will still do it. So the decision was still that it should be considered as sibling, but here it will be, they did not look into the DNA profile, or they couldn't understand the HLA profiling clearly. What was the lacuna?
In our hospital, we don't go for DNA profiling and all. This
Okay.
HLA only
So it
we
is a
send.
hospital policy now.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Many of the
this now we are not doing outside. In JIPMER only we are doing for free only. HLA only we are doing.
Okay. Okay. Yes, Tilly, you had a question.
I
Yes.
was thinking that many of the time the transplant committee itself doesn't understand what is the requirement.
Exactly.
So as senior transplant coordinators, we only have to take the decision before it goes to the authorization committee, clear it, and then go. Because when we do HLA, we
Hello?
always tell the patient
Hello?
and the patient family that there is a, if in case of a sibling, there is always 25% chance.
Exactly. Yeah. Go on, Tilly.
So that doesn't mean that you are not a sibling. So in that case, either if the parent is alive, we do parental HLA. Otherwise, go ahead for a DNA and then clear it. If they are siblings, 100% DNA will match. Even otherwise, the documents will prove that they are siblings. But you can, based on two alleles match, you cannot say that they are unrelated. Committee cannot order a hospital that consider this as an unrelated.
Yeah, that's it.
They didn't order. Just they said it can be
No, here.
considered as unrelated and can proceed.
Okay, I saw one comment in the chat box. At least they gave permission for unrelated transplant rather than stopping it. Okay, any other questions?
Netaji, Girish here.
Hi, Girish, go on.
Hi. I just want to add one point that see HLA DNA, the accuracy is 93 to 97%. So nothing is 100% accuracy. So we
Correct.
should always consider consider their how they are, police verification, whatever, and we should the committee want to understand, are they donating for with the love and affection.
Exactly.
We can't completely go through the paper. So paper, yes, it is a supportive document, but committee has to understand, and if they don't understand, it is our responsibility to tell them that this is what this thing. Are they sibling? Yes. Are they staying from so and so year? Yes. Then they should give a permission. So we can't just go with the paper.
Yeah, I agree that. Any other questions?
Any other question in the chat box? So should we wrap it up?
Okay, we are already 10 minutes ahead of our schedule.
Not ahead, delayed.
Oh, yeah, we have delayed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one comment in the chat box. Okay. Johnson, is it? Yeah. What are we trying to achieve by doing all this? We disclose to the family that they are not actual sisters, but they are lived as a sisters, as many has. On the other hand, side, we allow neighbor and yeah, I agree that. I agree that. It's a hospital management decision that we can't decide by our own. Okay, fine. Okay, I think we had a intense discussions about two major case studies that we had from our speakers. Thank you both the speakers, and thank you Sujata for setting the tone. Do we have time for the post poll, or is it fine?
Just want to make a
I think we
comment
should close it.
quickly.
Yes, Pallavi. Yep.
So clearly there's a need for these kind of discussions, and I think we could take up more cases, such cases in the coming months, and the audience that is here could reach out to us, to NATCO, to say that they would like to share a particular case like Bhanu did and our other speaker did. So I just want to leave that thought with you, that I think we should continue with these discussions over the next 1 or 2 master classes in the months to come.
Yeah, I agree that. In fact, the participant list is intact with the 50 plus, so that makes it more relevant that we are moving.
Yes, there's clearly a need to have discussions on
Yeah.
document. Okay.
Okay, with that, let's close it for the day, and we'll come back. As Pallavi said, we'll have intense discussions in the days to come. Sujata, your final comments?
Yeah, on behalf of MOHAN Foundation and NATCO, thank you very much to all the speakers, Mr. Netaji sir, for helping me out in coordinating the whole masterclass, and Mr. Gibson. I know you had a very busy schedule, but in spite of it, you were able to spend time with us. Thank you so much. Banu ma'am, again, thank you very much for immediately agreeing to our request. And we know that where this discussion is going to take us, we weren't sure, but at least it was good to have a discussion on this topic. Thank you so much to all three of you. And again, as Johnson said, like, of course, we all have all these checklist documents and everything. But end of the day, we need to look at it like, what is the core, what the law is trying to convey out of this. End of the day, it's like wanting to prevent the organ sale, or buying or selling the organs for transplant. And that is, if we are able to conclusively establish, I think all those other desirable documents, mandatory documents, it's time for us as transplant coordinators to step up and speak, and then make a proper compilation of documents on all fronts, medical fronts, legal fronts, friends, are emotional and psychological aspects, why something is not needed, how this could be avoided. I think it's time for all of us to take that stand. And then I know someone has written us, it's more of a hospital management policy. Yes, at the end, we all need to listen to it, but it's also our responsibility to make the hospital management, or whoever is sitting in the committee, to ask why this is being asked in this particular format or whatever it is. So I think as a transplant coordinator, we should look up to that state, not always just submitting the documents, but whatever have been asked from us. With that note, would like to conclude. Thank you so much. As said, still I could see about 50 attendance, which is very nice. Thank you so much. Looking forward to format something similar in the future, in the time to come. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nadaji. Thank you all.
Thank you.